Hi guys, this is Subham Kumar from Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering of 6th semester CSC department, having USN 1VE20 CS 146. Today we are going to discuss about the subject of cloud computing. In that the topic is machine reference model. So machine reference model we are going to study about virtualization recap, need of virtualization, machine reference model, security rings and privileged mode. So what is virtualization? Virtualization is a key component of cloud computing as it enables cloud providers to efficiently utilize their physical resource and offer flexible and scalable services to customers. Cloud providers use virtualization to create virtualized environments that allow customers to run their application and services on virtual machine hosted on the cloud infrastructure. What is the need of virtualization? So the need of virtualization is to enhance performance, limited use of hardware and software resources, shortage of space, eco-friendly initiatives, administrative cost. Next, what is machine reference model? So as the bottom layer, the model for the hardware is expressed in terms of the instruction set architecture, which defines the instruction is an interface between hardware and software and is important to the operating system. Developer and developers of application that directly manage an underlying hardware. In that we have seen this diagram that application which is API, then libraries, then operating system, then hardware, which is divided or separated by API, ABI, ISA. That ISA is instruction set architecture. Then application we can write as libraries, operating system. That application is connected to each one of them either with directly or with libraries or operating systems. The application binary interface separated the operating system layer from the application and libraries which are managed by the OS. It means operating system. ABI covered details such as low-level data types, alignment, and call conventions, and defines a format for executable programs. System calls are defined at the label. The interface allows portability of application and libraries across operating systems that implement the same ABI. The highest level of abstraction is represented by the application programming interface, which interface application to library and or the underlying operating system. The instruction set exposed by the hardware has been divided into different security classes that defines who can operate with them. The first distinction can be made between privileged and non-privileged instructions. Non-privileged instructions are those instructions that can be used without interfering with other tasks because they do not share resources. That category contains for example all the floating, fixed points, and arithmetic instructions. Privileged instructions are those that executed under specific restrictions and most used for sensitive operations, which exposed here there is behavior sensitive or modify the privileged states. For instance, behavior sensitive instructions are those that operate on the input output, whereas control sensitive instructions alter the state of the CPU registers. So in this diagram, we have seen application library, operating systems, and hardware. So API is application binary interface that covers facts such as low-level data types and call conventions, and it also defines a format of many programs. The application programming interface, that API is represented by the highest level of abstractions. The API interfaces application to libraries and or core operating systems. API and ABI are the two which responsible to make it done. Mainly CPU runs on two privilege levels, that is user mode and kernel mode. User mode, memory access is restricted up to some limits. Access to peripherals is denied. The kernel mode. In the kernel mode, CPU has instruction which manage memory and how to be accessed, and it has instructions which enable access of the peripherals like disks and network cards from one running program to another running program. CPU switches automatically. The expansion and application of computing systems are simplified by the layered approach. Application of multitasking and coexistence of multiple executing is specified by the layered approach. So we can see the first can be made within privileged. So next one is security ring and privilege node. It's a possible implementation feature a hierarchy of privileges in the form based on ring, that ring 0, ring 1, ring 2, ring 3. So ring 0 is the most privileged level, ring 3 is the least privileged level. Ring 0 is used by the kernel for the operating system. Ring 1 and ring 2 are used by the operating system level services, and ring 3 is used by the users. Recent systems support only two levels, with ring 0 for supervisor mode and ring 3 is used for user mode. So, example contains all the fixed points, floating and arithmetic instruction, the instructions which are executed under particular restrictions and which are frequently used for sensitive operations, as known as privilege instructions. It is expected that hyperversion managed environment code for guest operating systems runs in user to prevent it from the direct access of operating system status. It is no longer possible to completely isolate the guest operating system when non-privileged instructions are implemented. So thank you for today's class.